Okay, let me start a new day.
Yeah. So happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to the community meeting. We're just getting started. So if you have any topic, please add to the agenda. You should be able to find the agenda on the calendar invite. If you need a link, just pin me in the chat. We can share in the chat also. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, if there's new folks who want to introduce themselves. I know Peter, he's not here, but he mentioned that the folks at Headlamp were interested in Kagent, and we're going to join this meeting. So I don't know if that Scott, you're the only name I don't know. I don't know if you want to, if you're from there, but yeah. So, or if not, you can also just introduce yourself. You don't have to, though.
Yeah, we would love to welcome you, Scott.
Yeah, sure. I'm just listening in, kind of thing.
Oh.
Just came
right.
across this. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Welcome. I mean,
Yeah,
the community is built by each and every one of us. So thanks for joining in for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So I primarily focus on security. So yeah, I'm just interested to kind of first meeting, kind of learn what you guys are all about, and just gonna take it from there.
That's awesome. Well, great to have you. Yeah. So have you used our Kagent at all, or are you just getting into it, or you just saw it?
No, just kind of getting into it. Yeah. Kind of coming on the tail end of some of the stuff that came out of the CNCF, as well as the new AI Agentic Foundation. Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, so I think for today's meeting, I do just want to say that the first thing I want to say is I just want to thank Jet for jumping on a lot of the things, the issues that have been sitting for a minute, and PRs that have needed some love. And so it's really great to see all that stuff moving super quickly. So that's been awesome. So yeah, thanks for the work, and keep doing what you're doing. And then, as I said, we were also, I know that the Headlamp folks were supposed to join, so that was what I had in mind for today's meeting, but it looks like they have not joined. So I don't have anything specific for today's meeting. If anyone has anything they want to chat about, feel free.
You said, oh, sorry, Lynn.
No, go ahead, Chris. I'll go after you.
All I was going to say was, when you said that Headlamp were interested, were they talking about doing it as a plugin for monitoring?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, let me find.
Because that would be cool, given that all the people are looking for new dashboards now because that other one being deprecated, right?
So I think what they're looking for, as far as I understand it, is that they're looking for basically a way, a way to get the just like a natural language interface, right, for the cluster. And so I think, as far as I understand it, where was this message? I don't. Oh, it was in Slack. Okay, it was in Slack to Peter. So it's not in the. Unfortunately, it's not in the Discord. But yeah, he's not here. But anyway, so I'll just read it. Hello, I'm from the Headlamp team. We're building AI assistant capabilities for Headlamp and Cage. It looks like it could handle the heavy lifting for us: MCP server management and agentic workflows. Quick content, and then that's kind of
Yeah, makes sense.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. I think it'd be a natural fit. So unfortunately, they are not here yet. So if they show up, we can have that conversation. If not, we can do it at another time.
Super.
Okay. Lynn, did you have something to chat about?
Yeah, I want to mention. So last week, I finally sit down and watched Victor's video. So how many of you actually watched Victor's video about K-Agent? I thought it was very insightful. So does anybody actually watched? Dimitro,
Yeah.
I saw you nodding your head, right? So
Yeah.
one of the things I kind of started asking myself, I think the scenario he mentioned was particularly interesting to me was he didn't want to use the K-Agent UI. Let me admit this new person. He didn't want to use Kagent UI, which I kind of understand why he's saying that, right? Because he already been familiar with his own tool. Cloud Code was one of the examples he talked about. He also talked about, I think, Cursor and some other Visual Studio Code. And he loved that idea of running agents and MCP server in Kubernetes, which I thought was great. And Kagent can continue to be a vehicle for that, but he was thinking it would be very troublesome to get K-Agent to working with his existing tools like Cloud Code or Cursor, because the fact of K-Agent was communicating using A2A protocol. So I started thinking loud, is it possible that we actually expose some of our agent as MCP server
So that's what Jet's working on right now.
Oh, okay, okay. Awesome, Jet. Sounds like I didn't know you're working on that. Because I was like, that way I can easily plug in my MCP client, whether it's Cursor or Cloud Code, to work with K-Agent, because I can see that being really powerful. So Jet, maybe I'll pass the microphone to you and you talk about where you are on that, because I really feel he's right about that, about K-Agent, and I think that position us in a useful way for people who already have their preferred interface to work with K-Agent.
Yeah, sure. I just want to check. Can you hear me? Because my
Yeah,
Wi-Fi.
we can hear you, and we can see you too.
Oh, because I can't see any of you, so my network is like. Just let me know if it's like lagging or. But yeah, I think someone actually from the community was working on a PR, and I was reviewing. I think he made some changes. I haven't reviewed it today, but yeah, the idea was like so that there's gonna be essentially two MCP tools, one to like discover the list of agents on Kagent, and then another to like invoke these agents. So the MCP is like a bridge between well, something like Cloud Code or VS Code to the A2A agents. So it's really just gonna like invoke the agent through like the MCP tool for whatever coding tool he's using. Let me just I will have to like review what this person added, but yeah, like there was someone working on this, and I'll have a look at his latest changes. But I think I remember like one thing that came to my mind that's like perhaps worth discussing is like how to like maintain that session for the A2A invocation, since like like I thought it might be like somewhat challenging, since like on MCP you have like an MCP session, and then on A2A it might be a different thing. So maybe that I can get some advice. Yeah.
So are you talking to about multiple agent communication? Are you just talking about from the MCP client to the agent?
No,
Just
like
one
I
agent.
suppose. Oh, because I didn't watch the video. So what I assume about a use case is like, if you have like Cloud Code, like the Cloud Code would like use these agent on Kagent as a tool, right? Is that the proper use case? Perhaps I should clarify.
Yeah, so my understanding, Aitan correct me or Dimitri correct me if I'm wrong, right? So my understanding is, okay, we have this great Kubernetes agent, for instance, or Istio agent or whatever agent we ship as part of K-Agent, right? And now I want to use Cloud Code or Cursor to kind of drive my actions on these agents through conversation. So I can say, hey, can you generate the manifest? Can you debug this problem of my deployment for me through Cloud Code or Cursor? So I think in that case, we won't get one agent working first before we look at multiple agents. That's why I was asking you about your session context. Are you referring to the context from the client, which is the MCP client cursor or Cloud Code, to the agent, which is the server here, or are you referring to multi-agents communication?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, that's how I like envisioned the use case as well. I think like what I meant is like when you have like multi-turn conversation, right? When you send like a prompt over, which is like through cursor, or like cursor is gonna be doing like all those calls to the agent, right? We kind of have to like, since with A2A we can easily like create a new session and then that's like a new turn, right? Like a new turn with the agent, right? But like yeah, either way, if Claw like the way to do it.
So in that case, Jet, first of all, MCP does have a notion of sessions, right? So you can, if you want, on the back end, maintain that. But I think for now, it's actually okay not to, because Claude Code and or Cursor will be maintaining that context, and they'll send it to you. So,
Okay, so they session ID, for example.
Yeah, but for now, I wouldn't worry about it. You are they will send you what you need. You don't need to maintain. I mean, you can if you want, but like Cursor, from what I understand, Cursor and Claude Code are maintaining context. So, but they also have a session. So I guess it's probably both are useful. It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Dimitra, do you want to go?
Yeah, I think there are two approaches here. Okay, so one approach, you make this MCP call as a call to sub-agent. It's like what we are doing in Kagent as well. We have a wrapper on top of sub-agent as a tool call, right? Another one, it can be completely asynchronous. So you start the task, and then you have like just something to check the status of that task and check some for results if it's long running, if it's asynchronous. And maybe we even need both, in depending on the situation. What do you want to run in the Kagent?
Yeah, so that's another thing too.
Yeah, and for example, right, like if you do a simple conversation, and this is something that results may come in 1 minute or within 1 minute. It's a simple tool call. You can call it and you show some progress, and then you got back the response, right? If you have something which is like a syncing, processing, doing some checks, you may even stream back some kind of output. In the cursor, you can see example, the same way you call a CLI tool and the CLI is producing some output. It's actually the tool box, a small square, box, and then you see like a console inside it, streaming different stuff, right? Until you're completed. So this is also supported by MCP protocol. And then, if it's conversational, you will get response in the same kind of synchronous call. If it's asynchronous, then you trigger a task and then you go back to it whenever you want, and you can check, show me the status, and it will show you the status of the task.
Yeah. So it was like how the terminal thing was done in Cursor.
Yeah.
By the way, that bridge you were mentioning from the agent to MCP, would that be part of a Kagent? I'm trying to think about how would a user, what would the user do if they want to set up their cursor or Cloud Code to work with it to do it?
Yeah, it'll be part of Kagent. It'll be in the control plane. Okay.
So the control plane basically would automatically set up that, and I could potentially use the MCP inspector too, right?
Yep.
To interact with the agent. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And so the design it's going to follow a similar, at least the current. It's going to follow a similar design principle to skills. So rather than having every agent be a different tool and overload the context, it's going to be 2 tools only, like Jet said. One tool is going to have the summary, and then you can get more info and the arguments, and then another tool is going to be to actually invoke. So that way we don't flood the context, but allow the agent to make a decision about what it wants to use. And this could also be the interface. This could also be an interface that we use internally, right? Or however we want to do more dynamic agent discovery going forward, right? This could even be something, if we do it right, that other agents inside of Kagent could use to do dynamic tool discovery rather than relying on a hard-coded list. So.
Right. So basically you get a higher abstraction of the tools through your agent now, because your agent, like your Kubernetes agent could have maybe 15 tools, but through your agent, Kubernetes agent, you got only summary and invoke, right? So it's a higher level abstraction, not at the detailed tool language, but also at the language that more about Kubernetes operation.
Yep.
By the way, I have another question. This is great, by the way. Really looking forward to see this land in Kagent. I have another question about the scale support in Kagent. I think we added scale support in Kagent maybe before KubeCon in Atlanta. So one of the feedback Victor also talked about, which I think I sometimes hit that too, is like he had this feedback of, for a given agent with a bunch of tools, that sometimes the tool execution from the agent wasn't consistent. Well, he didn't get that impression when he was using agents as part of a Cloud Code or Cursor, but somehow the tool's execution out of Kagent was more unpredictable compared with this prior experience of using agent in other platform like Cursor. So I was wondering with scales, because scales is more dictative of what the instructions are. Do you think people can potentially using scales to kind of fill in some of more pre-described way of how the tools can be invoked through scales?
So that's a system prompt issue. Like the Claude system prompt is just better than ours, and it's fine tuned for the model,
I see.
right? So I don't want to jump too far ahead and say skills versus tools. I think more fundamentally it's just about the like fit for the use case. So is the like does the system prompt and the prompt, and does the system prompt plus the tool calls plus the model, right? All those things need to be tested together, right? And in the case of Cloud Code, it uses a specific combination of models that it is optimized for. It uses a system prompt that it's optimized for, right? So it really is. It uses all these different things together, and so it's really So it's able to be more consistent in all those things, and it's definitely one of the Jet's frozen, but that's also one of the things that we need to as we talk about evals and things like that'll help there of combinations of prompts and models that we know are good together, and prompt registries, etc.
Yeah. So do you, since we don't have strong testing for system prompt and tools and models combination, do you think scales could potentially fill a particular gap for a particular scenario users trying to build?
No, I think we just need the testing. Skills are going to have the same fundamental problem.
Okay. Because I feel like with scales, I could potentially have the model call less the tools, because the model would rely on what the instructions in the scales and the sequence in the scales to do a good chunk of work, maybe not do everything. That's my understanding. I could be off here.
But you can just put that into your system prompt. It's the same thing. It's all at the end of the day, you're just telling the model what to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just kind of want to add there. I think like a long time ago, I sent some link in the chat. It's not the best link, but a long time ago, I was looking at a prompt optimization, which is done really well by DSPy, a group of like researchers from Stanford NLP. My pro was like the one I sent in the chat with the older version, but it was pretty much what Aiton said, like optimizing like the best combination between like prompts and instruction and few short examples. I don't know if it works like out of the box with like tool prompting, but like something along these lines. Yeah, like you do some evals with some data set and you optimize like basically prompts, yeah, automatically. So so this is not like manual tuning. It's more like a just I believe Mipro uses a gradient based approach, but something along those lines. Yeah. Oh, Bayesian optimization. Yeah. So something along those lines. So some automatic tuning, but I don't know how far that would be until Kagent will have similar capabilities.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for that context.
Yeah, I think it's pre-optimizing, right? Per specific model with specific tools. Yeah, that's DSPY and all of those. Yeah. But there is another thing, by the way, not only optimizing tools, but also reducing the size of the context of the prompt. And there is another tool which is doing like a prompt compression without losing actual semantic meaning. I think I shared this somewhere on the Discord. The project is very simple. You can just run existing prompts, and it's reduce it, removing all the unnecessary wording which people usually put there, usually by 30-40%. So it keeps only the necessary instructions and stuff like that. So I think using these two tools, like compressing the prompts and then doing the optimization with DSPY, can significantly reduce our current cost of token in the context. Yeah, it's a good idea. Just no one has time to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to show something very simple. Just if you're okay, maybe can I share the screen?
Yeah, I don't see any other agenda on the topic, so it should be fine.
Wait, one other thing. I noticed someone new joined, John, Hannah. I don't know if you've been here before. If you want to briefly introduce yourself, or if you have been here before, you can tell me that I have a bad memory. That's also fine.
No, I have not been here before. Tom Dean has been trying to get me to come for quite a while. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm working on some things with Kagent and the rest of the related ecosystem, and so I'll share with the community once I get those things wrapped up.
Hell yeah! Can we get like an idea, or you're just gonna?
So yeah, I mean, my background, I worked for the University of Washington for a long time. Moved into AWS. Moved into teaching at Linux Academy and A Cloud Guru, which is where I met Tom. And then when A Cloud Guru was acquired by Pluralsight, that was not a good fit for me. And so I moved to Coverse, which is a data platform company that was acquired by SAIC. So I've been working for SAIC doing next to public sector data stuff for a while without going into too much detail. And a lot of that has been in the last like year and a half, especially how do we take Gen AI into air gap spaces, bare metal spaces, places where the data ecosystem has to be fairly heavily walled off, and how do we solve those constraints? Also makes it hard to talk about a lot of what I've been doing for the last couple of years. And unfortunately, SAIC is kind of shrinking. And so I'm looking for new opportunities, but that means I have some time to play. And so that's what I've been doing. So one of the big questions that has come up with Gen AI, particularly, everyone wants to use it, particularly in government space. But then when they come to us with a project proposal, the question is always why. The thing you're doing is deterministic logic. There's no reason to plug Gen AI in here, to plug Gen AI in here. So that's always kind of the question, is like, well, why are we using this for this thing? So that's what I've been thinking about a lot. And there's a lot of interesting possibilities around Kubernetes and managing it, because it is a big complex system. So that's, I think, the appeal of Kagent to me. And then of course the security piece is important. So yeah,
Awesome.
so that's what I'm looking at. We'll see what comes out of my playing. And yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, sounds good to me. Looking forward
Yeah,
to
Yeah,
it.
welcome.
I think Kagent fits very good in the air-gapped environment. As soon as you can plug it to some LLM like Olama or something, it's actually, you know, contrary to all the other serverless and other things, it's pretty isolated, so you can deploy everything
Yeah.
with Olama, turn off internet, and that's fine.
Yeah. And yeah, one of the, I don't recall whether it was an acquisition or just an investment, but SAC is financially involved in anything LLM. So that was often like, we're going to use this. People without clearances can set it up and then or build the install framework, and then the cleared people can feed the marked data into the secured instance once it's deployed. But then they need to know how to interact with it. So that was always a lot of, you know, it's teaching less technical people how to do very technical things.
Yeah, I think this anything LLM is more like
It's a RAG.
application with a RAG with LLM all in one in running on the Mac. But yes, it requires
Yeah,
some,
you can
some
run
knowledge. Yeah,
you can run local models with it. You can hook it up to frontier models.
it's
You can
definitely Kagent could be like a SaaS, internal SaaS deployment. It's much easier. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Dimitri, you were gonna go.
Yeah, I'm still doing experimentation around this long-running workflows and things, and I was focused on the coding agent, like targeting this SDLC kind of use cases. It's still early. It's not yet connected to the Kagent itself, but I just wanted your opinion on something. Okay. Last time I mentioned one app, which I think it was just. Oh, wait. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, now I can't hide it.
Dimitri, why are you using that not the interface from the medieval times? What did you send me the other day?
No, that one I just found someone
Oh.
someone created agent configuration like RPG game. Yeah, that's another story. So yeah, so I was looking on several things which are allowing to actually run the coding agents in some kind of way where you can spin up a lot of them in parallel. And I came across this wide Kanban thing, which is a nice kind of dashboard. You can see the Kanban board with all this to-do list in progress and so on. Okay. And it's actually works in the way that you add their Git repo. I have here Kagent, and you can see here some tasks with their statuses. Okay. And of course, as all the AI things nowadays, this thing itself it's exposed as MCP. So here, for example, I have my cursor, I have the web Kanban connected with tools like list project, list task, create task, and so on. Okay, you see where it is going. So I can run something like this. I can say do security check on this project using web Kanban MCP, start task and wait for task to complete. Okay, so I'll run it. And basically, it's going to start the task on this Kanban, and behind the scene, it's actually running the coding agent using the cursor CLI. Okay, so here I am in the cursor IDE, full IDE, but this task will be triggered based on your configuration. You can choose Cloud Code, Cursor, Gemini, anything. Okay, So we are basically here doing like offloading of a task in the background. And you can also trigger it directly from here. I can do plus and put everything here and start it, right? But I see it as something interesting, because if we will put it in the context of Kagent, and I have Kagent session where I put just a task and I do like something with some specific repo and stuff like this, it's almost nothing required to integrate it. We have already MCP, we have already this whole thing which is like executing the flows, and you see it's run the security check, and I was running it before this one, for example, and it was finding here several CVEs on the project, and it's actually created a new branch with the fixes. Okay, so my point is that when we will be like adding more background long-running tasks and so on, we might need ability to visualize those tasks in the Kagent as a kind of like a dashboard, which is more user-friendly, allowing also this coding tasks to be executed, so you can actually see what's going on and so on. So we can scale to like developer task, like boring task. For example, I have 10 different repos. I want to do some, I don't know, security checks, code reviews, and so on and so on. I can just, trigger all of them, go to sleep, wake up in the morning, and I have a bunch of tasks to review in my backlog. Okay, and with all this MCP, Kagent ecosystem, sounds like interesting idea. But anyone else have any feedback on this, or any? I would be glad, because maybe I'm just have a wrong view on this, and maybe it's not worth it.
I actually, while I was playing initially, built something fairly similar just to see if I could with Cloud Code, and so it's of course, as soon as I finished, I did things backwards and didn't go look, so I reinvented a wheel I wasn't aware of. But yeah, I think one of the big things happening right now is like, well, are you going to let all these agents loose and just let them do whatever you want, right? And so that human in the loop question is important, which is where that
yeah, it's actually
right. There's the review step,
that,
right?
yeah.
So it's going to stop there. It's like,
Yes,
don't push it to the repository, don't update documentation, don't do any of that stuff unless documentation is the task, right? Until a human has reviewed it, and right. So when does it become overwhelming for a human, and you're then writing an agent to do those reviews? But but it still gives you that option to have that in there.
Yeah, I mean, this is awesome. Like I definitely think we need, like, as I've said to you, as I'm very glad we have Jet now, because we can get moving on. Jet, you're already done with this, right? You can already push the workflow changes. No, I'm just kidding. So, I'm very interested. I mean, the reality, I think exactly like John said, the way that this is moving is it's moving into long-running human in the loop activities. Like that is where this is going. And the more that Kagent can do to enable that, again, I don't know how. I mean, it's interesting because of what Victor said, right? Like, I don't know how far we should go on the UI side, but I do think we should definitely support, like, our backend should be very powerful, right? We should be able to support all of these features 100%, because we want people to use Kagent as the platform. So, and the UI, obviously, it needs to be able to, like, the UI needs to be good because you need to be able to see it in action. But I don't know that it doesn't need to be like whatever. But people need to be able to experience the back end, right? That's why the UI is
So basically, when we are trying to sell Kagent as an internal platform in a way, right, for the agents and stuff like this, very common question is like, I have Cursor, why I need something else? I have Cursor, I have MCPs and stuff like this. And here is like, my point is like, the Cursor on your local machine cannot scale too much, right? So you cannot push like 10 projects, 10 tasks and leave it overnight, because you close the lid of your laptop and it's stuck, right? It's crashed, right? So you cannot like resume it, you cannot retry it, you cannot audit it and stuff like this. And by focusing on this SDLC pipelines, when we are moving more and more to this direction where you have some Git repo, you have some boring tasks which you can actually outsource. There are some tasks which you will still do in the IDE really like actively and so on, but there are many tasks where you just want to go and check CVEs, patch them, and basically create a pull request without spending hours on it, right? It's offloading. So even if you look on the like most prominent people in the industry which are using all these coding agents nowadays, they say, okay, I wake up, I spin up like 3-5 background agents, and I have a couple of agents which are running on my laptop, like in parallel. So there are like this ability to run the long-running coding agent in the background. It's looks like the growing, and the demand is growing, and it's something that especially in enterprise people see as a need. And of course we might need to be flexible and support different workflows. So not only like a Kanban in progress in review, the workflow should be possible to define it with different stages, statuses, and then depending on which workflow you selected, maybe you will have multiple dashboards, more flexible way. Yeah, but I think from what my lessons learned from this wipe Kanban, it's like by using MCP on both sides, you have like MCP from outside exposing, and you have like internal coding agent, which is also calling all this MCP. You can actually plug it to the Kagent in a very nice way, and deploy it side by side.
Yeah, I really like I like what you said. I think people are trying to figure out having agent do their boring work, not having like an agent do advanced stuff. Because right now at the stage, people can't really trust the agent to do complex stuff, but people understand for some of the work they don't want to do, they'd be happy to offload that to their agent to take care of. That's why human in the loop is still very useful. I do have a question in your demo. Maybe I missed it. As far as your human in the loop, does it also ask for approval for executing some of the tools? Because I think Victor kind of touched on that. And I remember when I was using Goose actually asked me, hey, I'm going to execute this tool. Are you going to authorize me to do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. And in wipe Kanban, because it's by definition something which runs in the background, there is like agent configuration page where you enable this flag, run it as much as possible in the background. But it's actually, so the protection is more like, okay, it runs in a separate branch and it's waiting for you to review. So that's said, you probably still want to isolate it and put it in a container. That would be like ideal. So to prevent some kind of, unexpected behavior when it's deciding to delete something and so on. There are typically also mechanism of hooks in Cursor, also in Cloud Code, where you can put hooks which are protecting you from something like, not approved or not something dangerous. You can detect that and do it as well. But the main point is like, in the Kagent, we have those declarative agents, we have tools, we have MCP, but probably we don't want to implement the full featured coding agent ourselves. It's too much, right? There are already like a main coding agents out there, Cursor, Cloud Code as two of them, Gemini, another one, right? And why not just reuse them? Why not just to put them in the Kagent as one of the tools and so on, and allow them to use natively? It's a very powerful thing. But as soon as you start to go this direction, you discover, I probably want to see a diff of my changes before PR, right, in the same window, stuff like this. And this is where this white Kanban is solving this problem. I'm just saying that it was actually a project which was supposed to run locally, and you share it on your machine. But if you put it in the Kagent deployment, it's become even more available for more people, or we can kind of reiterate and take only the useful stuff from it and put it in our workflows and stuff like this, and then have just a generic coding agent MCP and stuff like that. Yeah, that's
do we even want to consume? Like, it seems to me that the way, like, we should just offer various agents and tools. It doesn't even feel to me like we should consume Cursor or Gemini or anything like that. Like, if someone wants to use those agents, they can use those agents. I feel like we just make it easy to plug in Kagent. If you want to build something in Kagent, like, we should make it easy to build something in Kagent, right? But if you're using Cursor, right, you should just use Cursor, and then we make it easy for you to plug in, right, and expose other agents that you need from Kagent. You know what I mean? Whether it's via MCP or whatever.
Yeah, but it's yeah, exactly. But it's when you start to work on this in this domain, you will discover also there are some questions. How you do the those statefulness, right? Like where do you store the Git repo when you work with it? I mean, if you use just GitHub and you have just GitHub MCP, that solves a lot of problems, because you can just directly talk to your GitHub repo, right? But in case if you are working maybe with different Git providers, and you have it like inside your agent or inside this MCP, then you need to solve this problem, where to do this volumes, how to manage it, how to clean it up, and so on and so on. It's probably not exactly the Kagent task right now, but that's why I'm asking your opinion as well. If you see any other customers maybe, or use cases where someone else is trying to solve this problem, maybe in some way, or we can just consider it. Yeah, or we can just consider it as an add-on, which is like a totally independent. It can be deployed side by side, and then you have MCP as a offload call, and that's it.
I mean, how does it's interesting, because it depends on how that coding agent is instrumented, right? Because we have the ability already to spin up a secure runtime, right? And so, like, Claude Code, for example, Claude Code, it just needs, like, you just pointed at things. So, like, we could instrument Claude Code in a sandbox runtime in Kubernetes, right? Like, we could do all of that. It's just like Cursor, you can't really do, because
no, it has Cursor CLI, it has Cursor agent, the same thing.
Oh,
exactly.
Well, okay. We so it's interesting. I haven't thought about it, but we could have some sort of dedicated secure runtime where it spins up a repo, right, in a container with a secure runtime, and then runs a set, and then you can basically communicate with it, right, and run commands against Cursor or Gemini or Claude Code or whatever it is.
We have Codex, we have Gemini. There is like 10 different coding CLI agents, which everyone prefers one or another, depending on their subscription or depending on their enterprise. And I think that's why this part is pretty generic. And then you still need to have the way to control it, because if I go to the Kagent current web interface and I have only my session, it's pretty limited, right? I don't see how many things I started. I cannot track in progress, not in progress, human in the loop. And if you create this more extended UI with a workflow and with a state machine or showing where you are now, and you can open it and you can just press add some additional comments and then resume, it opens up entire domain of use cases.
Yep.
I'm just saying that in addition to what we typically have, this can be quite nice. And then if you combine it with this automatic scheduled tasks or other stuff, which just run as a cron job, or I don't know, you can have a lot of different scenarios, like prepare the daily summary of your calendar, tasks, do whatever, and you can still connect it all to the traces, to the agent gateway, to have all the observability, all the security, and so on and so on. So it's that's my
an example of kind of what it sounds like you're talking about is managing agent flows with N8N. If you played with that,
N8N is a little bit different story.
Sure, yeah, just conceptually, right? You can set a schedule, you can have reaction to things in the environment, but really, right. How do you automate? Like that. That's kind of always a question when I look at a new interface. Is like, well, what if I want an agent to do something automatically, reactively, right? Like the power goes out of my house, but it's still running because there's a backup battery, but I want to have the agent do something during that period. How do I make that reaction happen easily, right? That's the other thing coming out of public space is no one there wants to or knows how to write code particularly well. So if we send them in something where it's like, yeah, here's this thing, you just have to write some code to make it work, they go, nope. So yeah, I can write the code to make that automation happen, sure, but can my wife, can the guy next door? Probably not.
All right. Well, it was a great conversation, but we are out of time. And I need to do something for my next meeting. So I think we should call it here, unless anyone has any glaring questions, comments, concerns. All righty then. This was an awesome meeting. Wonderful to meet the new folks. Hope to see you again. And talk soon.
Yeah, great discussion. See you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.